Hello, Internet, and welcome to yet another weekly stream. What I'm doing today is a continuation of what I was doing last week, which is making the pattern for the Pintuck shirt. What I've done in the meantime is complete my mock-up. As you remember, maybe last week I was rushing to get something wearable mocked up, and I just barely got one shoulder in. So I finished it and I tried it on, and you can see it here on the dummy that, you know, it's a shirt. It looks fairly reasonable, but there are some things that I want to change about it. So that's what I'm going to do this week. Basically run through the changes, run through how I'm going to do the pin tucks on the shoulder, and also working out some of the details like the finishing of the slit in the front, putting a collar on it, and that sort of stuff. So it's basically pattern drafting part 2. What I've got here on the shoulder is I've got already some lines marked for where I want the pin tucks to go approximately. As you can see, I started out with the Sharpie, changed my mind a couple of times, changed to a different color to mark the differences. It's still a bit wonky, but the thing I want to show you about it is that the shoulder seam ended up going here, here, ending right about there. And looking at it overall on the shoulder, that's kind of far back, like here. I would consider a normal point for the shoulder to be more over here. And it's funny that I should mention that because last week I had an original shoulder pattern piece where I'd shifted the shoulder line a bit to the front as a correction. And I shifted it back so the sleeve would make more sense to draft. But actually this shows that that correction was right, and it should have been further forward. So if I'm just going to show you that on the pattern piece, it basically means that, well, this line that I started drawing and it looked really weird is actually correct. So I should, I guess, trust my measurements more, because I ended up going back to what it originally was and what I thought was weird. So that's one thing I learned, is actually trust the math and the manipulation, rather than just thinking it looks weird, it's probably wrong. So I'm going to be shifting that back forward again. And then I'm going to be just measuring where I ended up with these other sort of pin tuck lines and adding a little bit of width to the pattern in those places, so I can account for that extra fabric that gets eaten up by the pin tuck. Other than that, we've got this bust dart here, and I felt that it was sitting a bit high. You can see it on the mannequin as well, that basically the apex of the bust is about here, but the dart goes to about here. And it's the same when I'm wearing it, so I think I'm going to shift that down a little bit. And then finally, these pin tucks are sitting, like they're coming up a bit too high. They're essentially ending up already sort of sitting on the bottom of the rounding of the bust. It's just a bit too high, so I've already marked my pattern to just take all of them down like 1 centimeter. So that's the alterations to the pattern that I made last week. And then here I've cut a slit to see how much space I need to get my head through it. And this will be the length of the sort of placket thingy that needs to happen here for some buttons maybe, or maybe I'll leave it open, but it needs to be finished somehow. And also, I found it quite hard to put it on. I sort of struggled to get into it because there's no closure like all the way down the front or all the way down the back. So I'm going to make the waist a little bit wider, so it'll be hopefully a bit easier to wrestle my way into it without any buttons or zippers. And then of course the whole point of the shirt exercise was to have a nice tall collar to mimic the sort of Regency men's outfits. So I'm gonna have to draft a collar today. So I'm gonna flip over the camera so you can actually see my pattern drafting efforts. And then let's get going with that. So here's my sleeve. I guess I'm going to start with that, getting the pin tucks in. And I'm going to grab a slightly darker pen so you can see what I'm doing. So originally I had the dart pointing here, and I thought it looked weird, but I think it's actually correct. Also, as proven by my little mock-up here. So my first thing is going to be that I'm going to move this dart to end over here. It's going to be a slightly curved thing. So I'm going to just sort of measure how wide it is and then eyeball where it's going to end up. Because I do want to keep this division the same. Like, I think that that looks fine. Maybe if I need a bit more space, it could also come forward. But it doesn't really need it. But definitely this point needs to come way over there somewhere. So I'm going to paste some paper behind this and then redraw the dart. And maybe I can simultaneously, like, I'm going to give it a bit of extra paper on the sides, because I think that for the pin tucks that I'm going to add on either side of the main one, I'm also going to need a little bit of extra width. So I'm going to take a generous piece of paper here and deal with it. So this is me correcting avoidable mistakes, because I should have just trusted my own math. Alright, so this dart is, let's see, so it needs to end here-ish. I can also make it go a little bit longer to where I actually want it to end, which actually, let me just measure where that ends. Got the total center dart is now about 22-ish centimeters long. So let's see where we would end up if we were to follow that down here. We would get to about here-ish. So I'm gonna draw to approximately there, I suppose. It's fine if a little bit of it is just a straight pin tuck, but I'm hoping it will be some kind of smooth line. Let's also move it slightly to the left so that that I can just close up, I guess. Can I? Figure that out once I've traced that line. I'll do this with some pencil because I think I'm going to change my mind several times. Something like that. I think would be nice. And then I need to just sort of copy the width that it has here to over there. So this is going about 7 millimeters over, which I need to move over there. And over here, the total width is about 3.5 centimeters. So we would end up there. Here it's about 1. Wow, this is turning out a bit weird, I think. I think it's too curved. Maybe I should not do this part. Because because I would end up with a dart kind of like, then extremely out to the side and then back in like that. This is not a smooth kind of shape. So if I ignore this, then basically now I'm taking out some amount of fabric here that I wasn't taking out before over there. So it would pinch like here-ish, which I think with how wide the sleeve is, I can afford to do. But I'm not entirely sure. It would maybe make it a little bit tight around the bicep area. So maybe I'll need to add in some extra width on the sides to compensate for that. Do I like this? I think I like it. Let's draw that in. I think I'm going to make a second mock-up of this sleeve after I also do the pin tucks, because this is the part where I'm really winging it, so probably doesn't hurt to double check that I'm not insane. There we go. And then this is no longer valid, this line. Then the next question is, where do the other ones go? And I've been looking at making each of them a little bit shorter as we go up, so you get a kind of V shape in what comes out of the sleeve, or comes out of the waistcoat. So I think I'm just going to measure on here exactly where it is and then just approximate where that is on the pattern. Or even just hold the pattern up to the thing and check where we end up. So let's try that. Hello, mannequin. Show me where I doodled. Should have maybe done that before I taped an extra piece of paper in there, because now it's that much harder to see through it, but it's still shining through a little bit. So I'm going to just mark approximately where the lines are. And then smooth it out on the table. I just really can't. It's easier on the shoulder, but I just really can't tell where we are down here somewhere. I just make it in between the other two, approximately. Enough to go on for now. I can see that the lines are a little bit curved outwards. I'm going to try to distribute these evenly, so I'm going to move the points around a little bit, because this bit is going away. that out later. So halfway between here and there is right about here-ish. That needs to end there-ish. It's not quite evenly spaced, is it? This is way further away. I need it more like going through here somewhere. I need an eraser. Where did all my erasers go? Welcome to today's episode of Anika's Looking for Things. Where is my eraser? Haha! I have returned victorious with one of the, like, I don't know, 5 erasers that have to be around the place here somewhere. So, I can finally fix my mistakes. Something like that, and then here, let's divide this cleanly. 2, 3-ish. And also try to get cleanly roughly the same length as that one. And then this one in the middle goes a little bit longer. And about this distance. Yeah. Alright, so I've marked the location of the pin tucks, and now I need to compensate for the fact that they're all gonna eat up about 4 or 5 millimeters of fabric. So I'm gonna just extend the sides a little bit to account for that. So, because we've got sort of 2.5 pin tucks on either side of the dart. So 1, 2, and then this one will be part of the seam. I'm gonna add about, let's see, 4, 8, about 1 centimeter along this edge, for which I should have probably also taped some paper down here, shouldn't I? Yeah, it's a bit short. Get some more paper. I don't think this is anything yet. There we go. Let's continue my taped together aesthetic. So I see we've got about 3 people in the chat. How are you doing? Are you making anything right now, or just nothing else to do on a Sunday? What you up to? Okay, so 1 centimeter is about this much. Well, actually, it's exactly this much. So this changes the curve of the, what is, I guess, the arm side a little bit. Let's see whether I care about that. I think I do care a little bit about it. Let's see. So theoretically, this becomes a bit less curvy. I think that's okay, actually. It will make the sleeve be less what? Less curvy than the body, that's for sure. Because we've got this curve on the body, which should be, well, actually this is the front piece. Let's compare it to this. So it was already the case that the body was a bit more curved than the sleeve. I don't think it matters that much. I guess I can try to make it a bit less extreme by going a bit further in. There. That'll do it. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's also tape that down properly. And then let's improvise a new curve, like, I guess theoretically there's a better, proper way to do this, which would involve, well, basically we're introducing darts, kind of. I mean, they're pin tucks, but they're theoretically identical to very tiny darts, or pleats or whatever, going here. So you would want to maybe cut it open like this, spread the whole thing out, and you would introduce some extra space here by making it go sort of up and out. But I think the difference is very slight, so I'm gonna just sort of YOLO it a little bit. I do need to be careful about preserving this angle and this curve, because that still needs to connect to the neckline on the other pattern pieces. Like, for example, it still needs to attach like this. This still needs to be a continuous curve, so I need to be careful about preserving that part of the pattern. And also it needs to not get any longer or shorter. So theoretically, it just sort of hinges like that. But I'm gonna just walk it along the other pattern pieces to double check that it still matches up. Because these things need to be able to be stitched together, like so. This goes like that. This is the marking for the arm side. And I think this one is ever so slightly longer, so I'm just gonna take a little bit off the top. Because that's where I supposedly introduced the extra length, so that makes this marking slightly inaccurate, but we'll fix that later. That'll just come down a little bit. And then let's check the front. Uh-oh. I'm losing pattern pieces here. This should match up along this line. That red mark is the one that counts, I think. This is also slightly too long. Okay, so let's cut out the hopefully final pattern for the sleeve. Oh, last week we also talked about the length of the sleeve and whether I should add some, remove some, because I plan to put really long cuffs on it. I tried this on, and this is sort of the original sleeve length, and it does, like when it just drapes on my arm right to about the edge of my hand, so that's fine, but I think I'm gonna lose some of the length to the poofing out. Like, instead of hanging straight down like this, it's going to be more sort of, you know, there you need some distance to go from poofed out to back to your hand. So I'm actually going to leave the length like this. And if the cuffs, like if it's a bit too long, it doesn't really matter because the cuffs are just going to sort of shove the rest of the sleeve. Like, does this make any sense? If the cuff is way too long, and it's going to puff the rest of the sleeve like further up my arm, which is just going to make it more puffier, which is actually a fine effect. So I'm going to take that risk and not do anything with the length of the sleeve. So now let's cut out what will hopefully maybe be the final pattern for the sleeve. I think I'm just going to do a mock-up of one of these sleeves and compare it to the old one. And just stitch it into the mock-up that I've already got. So I can even do a sort of side-by-side. Okay, I need to put some more tape on this because this is all like curling up and things. And then I'll just cut the end off again. Tape. Let's also make sure that this is properly stuck down to each other. we go. So, sleeve pattern finished with the new sleeve head. Now let's do the rest of the corrections. So I've already marked these, the pin tucks on the front. I've made them a little bit shorter. I just need to move this dart just down a little bit because I felt it was too high on my boob. So let's grab some more paper that will hopefully fit in here somewhere. Oh, that fits pretty exactly. So because it's moving in a way that slightly overlaps the dart that's already there, I'm gonna just trace it first, then close it up, and then cut out the new one. Basically, I'm just gonna make a template of what the dart was, and then move it around. There we go. So let's say that the new dart is gonna go somewhere like this. I'm not sure you can see that really well. I've just made a little sort of pizza slice that represents the dart. And I'm just positioning it where I think it should go. So then I'm just gonna mark those points. Hopefully it presses through the paper slightly. It does, so that's nice. I'm just soaking it through the paper because why not? And then this point we'll have to mark later. Now I'm gonna tape this piece of paper behind what I've already got to close up the gap that we had. Whoops. I do need this to lie nice and flat if this is going to work. I don't want it to move like that. Please be nice and flat and not moving. Yes, thank you. Excellent. Ah, wait, I did that wrong, didn't I? Because this line is going to need to extend further down and I don't have anything there. Nope, nope, nope. Take it out, do it again. I think this tape will peel off and I can just reposition it slightly. Come on, tape, do your thing. Yes. So let's try that again, but with more paper over here. That should be enough. So now I have enough paper over here that I can extend this line. And I need to extend it by exactly the amount that I took out over there. Which I will measure, because I like being exact. And then I'm just going to redraw the dart with the points I marked. And cut that out. And then next I think I'm going to do the extra waist. Well, it's not really a measurement. I measured it correctly, it's just that I drafted it on a system that assumes you have some way to get in and out of the shirt that isn't just pulling it over your head. So it's a little bit tight right now for putting it on over my head. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of extra waist width, or whatever you want to call it, so I can actually, you know, put it on. That would be nice. Okay. And I'm going to do that simultaneously with the back piece, so then I can make a curve that is the same for both of them. So where did it go? Where did it go? There we are. So looking at both of these curves, they're already a fairly good match. I just want to give them all a bit more space over there. So I need yet more scraps of paper. Good thing that I just throw them all on the floor, so I just have to reach down and grab them. That's the subtle art of never cleaning anything up. So let's see, I think if I place it like this, it's long enough. Yep. Oops, that was not very subtle. Add a little bit of tape to the back so it doesn't flap around too much. And then I put some tape on the front. Why does it look so... It looks a bit wrinkly and not terribly flat. Let's reposition that slightly. There we are. Now let's just give myself, I don't know. So the waistline is here. I'm gonna give myself, I don't know, if I put 1/2 centimeter extra and also 1/2 on the front, that's 2 centimeters extra in total around the waist. It's not huge. But since I was already at least able to put it on, and this should just make it a little bit easier to put it on, I think it's not unreasonable. Or maybe even a little bit more, because this, probably what I drew here is already 1 centimeter instead of the 1/2 that I'm just talking about, so yeah. I'll give it 7 millimeters, because I'm feeling generous. And I'm pretending that the additional 2 millimeters actually helps. So let's draw some nice curves. By the way, if you use a French curve to draw stuff like this, you don't want to draw it straight up to the waistline and then stop and then do the top, because you get this sort of sharp corner. You want it to be a little bit more smoothed out. So I stop right before the waist point, and then I sort of manually make it smoothly go up, if that makes any sense. And also you need to make sure that in the this point right underneath the arm side, this angle also needs to be preserved, because that's what makes it smoothly connect to the front piece. You know, this is supposed to make one sort of smooth line, which, as you notice, it doesn't actually do right now. There's a bit of a point there, so maybe I can afford to lose a little bit of angle there, actually. That's goes to show that I didn't actually check that on the original pattern, did I? Dun, dun, dun. Never said anything about checking your arm size. So that puts it right about there. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to cut this out, and then I'm going to use this as a kind of template to trace the same kind of curve on the front. So that it will easily fit together. There we go. So let's also tape a little bit of extra over here somewhere. And I am not entirely sure anymore how to do that slit, whatever, like a sort of polo collar where it doesn't button down all the way, it just sort of stops halfway through the fabric anymore. I looked it up in a book that I had lying around about sewing techniques, and I think they've got what I want. It's just that the pictures that they use to illustrate are awful. I'll show you in a sec when I start drafting that collar piece. It's just, they're using this mint green fabric where you cannot tell what's where. It just made me cry a little bit. This is gonna go about 7 millimeters out. Yes. Yes. There. And I'm going to use the back panel to get the curves right. And it's shaped slightly differently, like it's not a fully symmetrical curve, but everything below the waistline and everything above the waistline will be identical. So I'm going to just pivot it up. I can't fully do the same thing either because we've got the bust dart here. But I'll get it up to up there. And that should do it. I'm going to cut that out. So maybe I'll have to Google some tutorials on how to do that polo finish thingy so I get it right. But I think it's fairly straightforward from a pattern drafting perspective anyway. It's just a strip of fabric that goes along either side of the slit. So I feel fairly confident just drawing a, what is it, like 10 centimeter strip of fabric and saying cut twice. But then I need to actually work out how I should attach it to the garment. So that seems like a relevant part of the job. So, Maybe there's some magic involved where you have to like fold something over 3 times or something and I need a double width. I don't know. I don't think there is. So, I think that's the corrections for... Wow, what is this? Like, so much garbage builds up on the back of this. I think that's all the corrections I wanted to make. The bust dart is moved. everything's moved. Yeah, I think so. So now let's get the additional pieces. So I've already marked on the front here where that slit thing should go. And now I'll show you what's in the book. So, I guess I'll have to raise it up to the camera. So, as you might be able to see, there's some like mint green shirt with a slit down the front that's kind of squared out. I think they like cut a double sort of corner thingy at the bottom so it's straight, and they do some reinforcement stitch. And then I'm just totally lost because everything is vaguely the same color, and I think they just have two pieces that are double the width that you want, and then they stitch those around the edge, and then stuff happens. I think I'm gonna just Google it to make sure that I know what I'm doing. So let me just open a window to search in, and I'll show you my efforts at the Googles. There we go. So what is this actually called in English? I don't know. Shirt, front, closure, polo, sewing. What do we got? How to sew a polo shirt collar. That sounds like what I want. I think I don't want mine straight. I want it with one of those little triangles at the bottom, but I think it's probably practically the same thing. Oh, this is a YouTube video.
Please subscribe.
Oh god. Oh
click
no.
Bell button.
No, I don't want to click the bell button. Go away. Oh, let's find something that is a written tutorial with like pictures. Because that's not gonna work. Placket finished in the opening of blouse. That's placket. Placket is maybe the word that I should be Googling. This is just cutting the fabric. Is this a slideshow? What? I have no idea what's going on this page. Why is the internet so difficult? Threads magazine. Polo shirt placket tip. Use scrappiest fabric to practice. Yeah, that seems wise. That seems definitely wise. Can I get a good picture? Does anyone in the chat know how to do the placket thing? Or like a front button closure that doesn't go all the way to the bottom? Anyone have a tutorial for that? How to make the perfect placket. It's also a YouTube video. I can't really watch YouTube videos on my stream, like YouTube doesn't work that way. So that's not gonna help me. But I'm gonna do the sort of placket sewing button placket. That seems about right. Can we get a non-video tutorial? Oh, this is going all the way down the shirt. No! No! If this isn't it, then I'm gonna just assume that it's gonna be a straight... this is all straight up and down. Well, in that case... Change my search? What should I change it to? I think I'm just gonna assume that it's just a fold it in half type deal and just make two 10cm pieces and figure out at my leisure at some other point in time how to actually stitch it on. Let's just do that. So, let's see. I need from polo to black. Ah, yeah. I did. Wait. I'm gonna give it one more search because everything else, like, I've got the search for a button placket now, but now it's the plackets that go all the way down. So I think if I put polo back in, it might give me the like halfway down ones. Polo placket tutorial. Let's go. Yes, I want this. What is happening with this? Sure, we do interfacing. We open it up. Oh, but this person is doing it the way you do plackets on like on cuffs as well, on sleeves. Like, you know how you've got your cuff and then there's a little slit that's in your sleeve? This is how you finish those, but I'm not sure that this is neat enough. Because there's a lot of wrangling involved in that. I don't think that this is a good idea. I mean, it looks alright-ish. But I don't think this is, I don't trust this. One more try. Oh, this is just a link to the previous tutorial. Wow, great blog post. Thanks. One more try, one more try, one more try. Partial plackets. Yes. I want partial plackets. Give me the partial placket. I don't want free patterns. Yes, interfacing. Yes, cut it open. This point about cutting it open slightly off-center. This is now the second time that's being made, and I think that makes sense because you want the placket to sit in the center. You don't want the cut to sit in the center because the cut is like on one of the edges of the placket. So that seems wise. And then, what are we doing? Oh, this has a full facing. They're treating it like it's a split or something. I'm gonna quit this research and I'm gonna just assume I'll go back to the book at some point and try to peer and carefully read what they're doing. But what they seem to be saying is that they've got a placket for each side that is the same length. Is that what they're saying? Let's see. This is in Dutch, so I can't read it. Well, I could read it out loud to you, but it would not be particularly helpful. So, cut it, stitch it, press it open. I'm just looking for the sentence where they say, now grab the other one and do the same on the other side. Pin it down. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. They were talking about a left placket, so supposedly there's also a right placket. That would make sense. It's also pretty clear they've got two things going on there. So I'm going to assume that it's just two strips that are roughly the length of the, like a little bit longer than the thing. Okay. I'll just go for it. So we've got 10 centimeters long. What is a reasonable width for one of those placket thingies? I think 2 centimeters? Yeah. That seems about right. I'll also draw one of those triangle thingies on it, because that should be possible. I have a shirt that is like that. Maybe I should just check out what that shirt, like how they did it on that shirt, I guess. That's not particularly even, is it? I had to redo that. I just eyeballed that and it was wrong. Go. That's a bit better. Alright, I'm gonna just call it Placket. Oh yeah, and we need 2 of this next to each other. I need, already almost screwed it up. Because it does need to be like double width. Then I'm not sure how you do that corner thing, actually. I will need to, like, I don't want to take apart the shirt that I have, but I might have to for science. For science? Or I need to get better at this sort of pattern origami nonsense. I'm going to cut it out for now and assume that perhaps I'm going to change my mind on it by the time I get to it. I'm just not going to cut the piece yet. I'll cut it when I get to it. Like, I'll cut the pattern piece, but not the fabric piece, because, yeah, I don't know. So that's the placket sorted. Now I just need a collar. And let's think about how I'm going to address that. I think I just want one straight up and down collar that's probably very similar to the collar that I drafted for the waistcoat. Let me grab that pattern piece because I think it's here somewhere. I've seen it recently, or at least if the pattern piece isn't, the collar itself is. So it's just a sort of slightly, like, this is downward angled because it's going onto the slope of the, there's a sloped, what do I call that? Sloped neckline? Jeez. So here I've just got a straight closure on the front, whereas on the waistcoat it just sort of curves inwards. So that's what that is accounting for. I think that here I can do a fairly straight collar, actually. I just need to know the total width of the neck, which I suppose I should have somewhere in my pile of measurements, but also I can just measure it from my pattern pieces. If I've got a flexible ruler, which I just so happen to do, which is located here. Alright, so I'm just going to measure the entire neckline of what I've got so far. About, say, 6.3. I'm going to just write that down because I'm going to lose track of this. That's for the front. Then we continue on the sleeve, where I'm gonna take into account the fact that we're gonna lose a bit. I'm just gonna measure the original basically, and the rest we're gonna lose to the pin tucks. So we've got about 4.2 over here. And I'll just cut the collar pretty generously so that if the pin tucks stick up a little bit more or a little bit less than I thought they would, even though I tested it on a test piece of fabric, I can still, I'll just, you know, make the collar a bit longer and it won't matter, it'll be fine. This is 4.3-ish. And then on the back, we've also got four. So adding it all together, got, let's do the whole numbers first. 4 and 6 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 0.8. 18.8 is half of a collar. I need to scrap to write that down. And so then maybe it's easier to drape this instead of drafting it. I don't know. I'm really into drafting because I don't know. I want to do it mathematically, but maybe just positioning a paper collar on this thing is actually a much easier way to get the exact shape and size that I want without a million mock-ups. I'm not sure. I'm gonna take, what do we have here? What is this? Oh, this is actually a scrap of paper from the previous shirt. I might want to keep that instead of leaving it on the floor and tearing pieces off of it. Let's put that somewhere else. Where? Oh, yeah, here in the back printed paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an experiment in sort of draping with paper. I'm going to cut a bunch of strips. I think this is probably a bit too long, actually. I'll cut them sideways. And I'm going to pin them to the collar of the mock-up that I made. Shape them to where I want them. And then take them down and smooth it into a pattern. Hopefully. It's the plan. Because I think that doing it with these strips will be a bit easier than doing it with a whole chunk of paper that's not going to want to behave in a sort of flexible way. Let me just pop the camera back up so you have a view of the mannequin. There we go. Let's put her back here. And let's see what we can do. I'm gonna just tucking bits of paper into the collar or into the neckline and pinning them in place so that I can then sort of doodle a collar shape onto them and sort of, you know, I can change, this is a bit wider, this is a bit looser, or wait, wider and looser is the same thing. I just mean that I can so shift them around a little bit to make it stand up and out the exact way that I want it to. And then I'm going to tape them together and make a collar. Keep in mind that I only need to do half because the other half will just be a mirror image. So So let me make sure I've got my center back marked correctly here somewhere. Now I want this collar to be fairly tight, like starting around the neck, because I've also got the waistcoat collar that needs to go around it. So I'm not going to widen the neckline any at this stage. It's a bit too wide. Alright, now let's take some tape and figure this out. Where's my roll of tape? Here we go. Alright, so I want the collar to go like almost up to my face, but not quite. Because this is the slightly more sane version of that white Regency shirt that I made that literally goes halfway up my cheeks almost. So let's actually, because the mannequin doesn't have a head, I'm just going to do a quick sort of approximate measurement of how tall it should be. I've got, oh, I don't know, I'll just take this piece of paper. I'll just, whoop, hello, hold it up to my own neck, and I'll keep it generously sort of, I'll keep it easily under my chin. I think that's a more sensible approach for the modern age. Something like this. So that should be about this tall. Creasing the paper a bit. And then on the sides, I need it to stop well under my jaw. Something like that. A little bit taller. Something like that. And in the back, I need something like stopping like under my hair. Something like this. Alright, so I've put some creases into the paper at the approximate height that I need this to be. And then maybe I can sort of make sense of it. This is going to naturally open out a little bit because it's going to have the slit. So I'm not too worried about it going straight up into my nose, if that makes any sense. I do need this to be perpendicular to the, well, no, sorry, parallel or like in exactly a straight line with the center front. So I'm going to move this a little bit. Is this a straight line? It is. Oh, now because I took it down, now the height measurement is not correct anymore. Let's try that again. So, comfortably under my chin is about there. This one for real. All right. Let's cut off the stuff that's definitely way too long. And now let's just sort of smush it into a generally collar-ish. I think the way it's standing up like that is actually not bad. I'm gonna pin it up to my neck as though that's actually where it's gonna be. And I'm gonna start sticking it. Alright, let me also do the center back straight up and down. Oh god. Got this stuck in all kinds of ways. I'm gonna just cut the center back to where it needs to be. I'm gonna just doodle around the edge as well, so I've got the bottom edge covered. Tape. I'm gonna make it stand out a little bit from the actual neck of the mannequin. Just sort of up, but not right up against it. So if your neck is sort of, I guess, a little bit going inwards, then I'm gonna make this straight up. So it's got a little bit of space. And you don't feel like you're being choked by your collar. Very bad. Wait, I think one of the pieces of paper is not actually pinned down to the mannequin and it's moving now. Hold up, you. There we go. Yes? Question mark? Now let's doodle some kind of edge on it. Going through all the little pinches that I made to indicate the height. I also need to make sure that at the center back I finish it at a right angle so it will connect to the other half properly. And I have no such concerns for the center front, because that will just open whatever shape it wants to be. And this looks a little, I don't know, I'm sure you can see that. But the line now looks a little bit wobbly, and I also feel it looks a little bit weird going up in the back. Like, as a collar, I'm not entirely convinced that makes sense. It also still feels extremely high. I know I put something like 11 centimeters on the original, like the extreme version. So maybe I'm overdoing it a little bit with the 8 that it currently is. It's definitely lower, but I'm not sure that it's quite low enough. I'm gonna drop it a little bit in the back. But I think I'll smooth that out once I take it down from the mannequin. I'm just tape the bottom together a little bit and then take it off and see what I've done and whether it appears to make any sense. Like, in theory, a straight collar, like those little sort of mandarin collars that you also see on shirts. I'm not sure that's the correct word for it, but they're usually not a very curved strip. They usually curve up a little bit towards the front to account for the roundness of the neckline, but usually they are not extremely curved along the bottom. Let's see if we've got something similar that we've created here. If it will even lay flat, because that is... If this looks like complete garbage that I don't know what to do with, I'm going back to drafting it, but you gotta experiment sometimes. Whoop. So, let's plop the camera back down. And see what we've done. It doesn't entirely want to lie flat. Let me just remove all this other garbage so you can actually see what I'm doing. So this is what has been produced. I'm not entirely convinced by it because it does stand up like that. Which is a bit awkward. And it looks like a wobbly line followed by, like, I don't know, it's just two wobbly lines. This is garbage. I'm gonna go get my pattern drafting book and try this again. I'll be back. Okay, let's try this the old-fashioned way. Where's the stuff about the collars, please? Here we go. Yeah, so there's something like this. As you can see, just it's pretty much straight thing, slightly curved upwards at the top, like at the center front. I'm just gonna draft something like that. But at least, oh wait, I guess I shouldn't have crumpled it up quite so quickly, because it would have told me the height that I need it to be. I'll just measure that and take that as a... There! Information. So this is like... Wait, what? This is not suitable. Let's say about 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 all around, basically. Okay. Need some paper. Where are my scissors? Seven and a half by what? 19? What did they say? That should be enough. .8 is what I said, I think. I'm gonna assume that the measured amount was 19 and I just lost 2 millimeters in all the drafting changes at some point. Let's see if I've actually got this. Here's my measurement sheet. Got like... I don't think I've even got it. I don't think I have it measured. Not possible, is it? Oh, 38. 38 divided by 2 is 19. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's 19. Okay, so that makes sense with where that came from. Where's my pencil now? You saw that I had it right. I didn't just... I came prepared. I just lost things along the way. What the... Ah, it was underneath the sleeve. So we just start with... We need the collar size plus the 2 centimeters for the placket is going to be the length. So I'm just going to mark the collar length from here to there, and then mark my placket, which is the additional 2. And then, wait, is that correct? Should it be half the placket? Because the placket is only, it's like gonna overlap itself. So on the total shirt, I'm losing, like if I've got a 2 centimeter overlapping placket, that means that the total length of the neckline fabric is just 2 extra centimeters, not 4. I think I need 1 extra. There we go. And then we go straight up for that 7.5 that I said, which is tall, but I think it's good. Anything else that I need to think about? It's just telling me to raise this by about 1 centimeter to make the curved line. And then we go something like this. Whee! And then I also go the 7.5 up from here, or at least perpendicular to here. That's the half. Comes up about there. Does it actually make sense with the... Still not sure on the placket math. This is to center front, and then this is... Yeah, it should add up. So now I'm going to try to draw the same curve along the top. Oh, I'll do this in a pen so you can actually see what I'm doing again. Instead of the pencil that doesn't really show on camera. So I've basically just got a 7.5 centimeter strip that is slightly bent, like a banana. Not even as bent as a banana, honestly. And now I'm just gonna, I think, freehand the top of it. I'm gonna need my 1 centimeter extra for the placket. That's a fixed amount. But this is a vaguely curved shape up to the top. There we go. Grain line goes like that. This goes on the fold. Oop. Seems kind of big, but we'll see if it looks like crap or not. I'll just also add this to a mock-up. I can't add that to the mock-up, can I? Because I did not add a seam allowance to the neckline when I made this one. Whoops. This we'll just have to try on the real thing. Why not? Just put one side on and see if it looks like crap or not. So I think that makes the full pattern, actually. Do I need anything else? Got a front panel, a back panel. I've got a sleeve. I've got my placket. I've got my collar. I don't think it needs anything else. So that means I can start cutting, which is excellent news. This kind of stuff always takes longer than you think it does. Like last stream, I thought I was gonna, you know, just make a pattern. It's just a couple of adjustments to the original pattern. It's fine. And today I thought, oh, just add a couple of pieces and adjustments to the pattern I did last week. And here I am, an hour and a half later, finally finishing it. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way and start cutting. I'm gonna make sure not to lose these two pieces. I'm just sort of pin them together and put them out of harm's way, and then clear the rest of the table so that my fabric will fit on it nicely. The useless book goes back on the shelf. Pieces. Got some weights that I'm gonna probably need, and I've got the fabric, which actually looks like I haven't pre-washed it. Why did I not pre-wash it? I know I pre-washed everything else from that shopping trip, like the white cotton for the original Regency shirt and the fabric for the waistcoat. But it appears that I have not done anything to this. Jeez. It's not likely to shrink much. But with the fact that I'm a little bit concerned about the being able to pull it over my head or not thing, I'm not sure that I should take the risk. Like, this is cotton, or if I recall correctly, there is some amount of... Why did I cut a piece out of it? What did I do? Is this even that fabric? What is going on? Oh, I know what this is. This is the test piece I did last week. So that is actually the correct fabric. Question is just, how much do I think it's gonna shrink? Maybe I should just iron it with a bunch of steam and hope that that takes care of most of it. I'll just do that to be on the safe side. Yeah, let's heat up the iron. Steam the crap out of it before I cut it. Because I don't want my shirt to shrink on me. It's already kind of pushing it with how tight it can be before I can no longer put it on over my head. And I don't want to deal with that crap. see. Yeah. I'm just gonna plop the camera up so you can kind of watch me iron. It's not the most exciting material, but it's what I gotta do right now. So. Like, it's that or I quit for this week. Or maybe, I don't know, do something else. I also still haven't finished the waistcoat, so there's an argument to be made for do something else. I don't know. I want to get this underway. More heat, more steam, please. I think I need to refill this actually, because I'm not getting as much steam as I thought I was gonna get. So, that leaked a little bit, but I'm gonna just fill this up real quick. Alright, back to ironing things. Because I did not pre-wash my fabric like I should have. So, while I'm boring the crap out of everyone by ironing, some quick advice about steam in irons. If you have a dryer that has a reservoir to catch the water that comes out of it, that is excellent water to use in your iron because it will have been sort of decalcified by that whole being evaporated out of a dryer business. So you don't get as much buildup of calcium in your iron. I unfortunately don't have such a dryer. Mine just goes straight into a drain or whatever it is. So I'm using plain old tap water because I don't care. much steam. All the steam. We're nearly there. This only took a couple minutes. I think, yeah, that's it. Okay, stop dripping. It's fine. Stop. Okay, back to business. I noticed that the way the fabric was on the bolt, it was sort of unevenly folded, which you can also see once I put you back down there. So, the fabric was on the bolt, folded a little bit unevenly. So there's a little gap here, which means if I want to cut on the fold, I'm going to lose a little bit of fabric, but I'm not going to refold the whole thing because screw that! Okay. Is this the part where I didn't cut a corner out? Yes. That's good, because I don't want that. I'll try to get this to lie flat on the table. And actually I'm going to flip it over so you can better see what I'm doing, I think, because the fold is on this side. I noticed that there are some imperfections in the fabric. I think you can even see that on camera, that here there's a little white line, and it's actually woven into the fabric. This is just a bit of fluff, but this white line, that is just a little white thread that got caught, I guess, while it was being woven. And see if I can pick it out. Otherwise, I guess I can fix it with a Sharpie or something, but I don't know. It goes to show the kind of quality I buy. I try okay to buy decent quality things, but I had a need to buy all the things at once, and this was there. See if I can just pick it out. But it doesn't really want to. I think it's possible to just pick it out, but I am not succeeding. So maybe it ends up somewhere on the shirt where you can't even see it, or maybe I don't even use that piece. And if I do, I'll just Sharpie it or something. Okay, so I am going to cut both the center front and the center back on the fold, because I don't have a seam here, and I don't have a seam on the back either. Oh, I do have a seam on the back. I'm lying to you. I'm only cutting the center front on the fold. I completely forgot that I'd put a center back seam. So, sorry about that. I lied. I dropped a pin, and the first rule of dropping pins is that you find it before your foot finds it. Ah, there we go. Yep, I got it. Why is it? You notice how this is sort of veering off the edge of the fabric? Is that because my pattern is not entirely straight or the fold is not entirely straight? What's going on? I'm gonna remove this and double check this stuff real quick. This is a bit weird. Assuming that the ruler is straight. This looks pretty good. This, I think it's just to do with how I plop the fabric on the table. I think I can fix it. Okay. So I know that last week I said I was considering streaming something other than this project this week. And I considered a bunch of things, but I couldn't really find anything that was suitable to do on like a 3-hour stream. I was kind of interested in doing paper making, because it seems fun to just take some old newspapers and make your own fancy schmancy heavyweight paper out of it or something. But it's one of those things where the instruction is, put the paper in the water, let it soak for several hours. Take the paper out of the water, let it soak for several hours. Put the paper into a mold, plop it out of there, and then let it dry for a day. And it just didn't seem like the kind of thing that would be interesting to watch in real time. Same with the other thing I came up with, which was, oh, this is a really weird scrap. Let's get that out. Which was screen printing, which is also one of those things. I've never done screen printing and I want to. I was looking at DIY methods where you take some picture frame or like a canvas frame, put some fabric on it, and make the screen with PVA glue instead of that UV reactive stuff that they use for real. But the instructions on that are also, let it dry for several hours. Let it sit for several hours. So not ideal. But I do want to try the whole screen printing stuff at some point. It seems like fun. But then I'll just either make a video or a blog post or something about it instead of doing it on a stream. That's piece number 1. Now let's see if I can fit the back in here somewhere. Because here's the part, whoops. Here's the part where I cut a piece out to test on last week. So I was kind of hoping that I could fit it just in between there. But it looks like I can't really. That's annoying. Not with any kind of seam allowance anyway. Can I fit the sleeve around these places? Oh no! Okay. Fine. I will sacrifice my, whatever, 10 centimeters of fabric that it was. to lie flat. Once more. Oh god, I'm dropping everything today. What was that? I think we're good. Where's my packing piece now? Ah! What? Didn't I, like, have it? This is the sleeve. Where's the back? I had it 5 seconds ago. Oh, it's under the table. We're good, we're good. So here's that cutout bit. The grain line on this. Wait. I cut the other one face down. So what's now considered the... Oh no, it's the same. That doesn't even matter. Grain line on this, because I changed the waistline slightly, is now like this, supposedly. Does that add up? Yes. So let's just measure that I've got it on equal distances from the edge of the fabric. About 15, 16. So it needs to be tilted a bit like this. 15 and a bit. So just 15. I think I'm getting a bit too close to the selvage. $15 and a half. $15 and a half. So that's on grain now. I've also supposedly got something exciting coming this month, which is looking like it's, I guess, not going to happen. I mentioned it already in some other stream earlier, I think. I ordered a Snapmaker 2, which is one of those 3D printy, laser cutty CNC milly thingies. So I should be able to make a ton of cool stuff with that. They said they would ship in September when I ordered it back in April or something. But I haven't heard anything about it, so... I mean, they've got 4 more days to ship it, and then it will still have shipped in September, but I expect that I might have to poke them about it soon to make sure that it's happening. I know that, like, I've seen more and more videos of people on YouTube unboxing it and doing stuff with it, so supposedly they exist and it's not a total scam. I just need it to get to me. So has anyone in the chat got any projects in the pipeline that they want to share? Because I love hearing about that sort of stuff. And it looks like I will be skipping that little white bit after all. So no Sharpies needed. I just remembered that I was gonna do a mock-up of the new sleeve, wasn't I? I was. Oh, and that's also a pattern piece I missed. I didn't even do anything for the cuff. Whoops. Ah, crap. I was getting ahead of myself. Oh no. So I still have to make a cuff pattern piece. And I also supposedly need to make a mock-up of the new sleeve. Which I do want to do, because I don't fully trust the thing I did with the pin tucks. So, yeah. So I'm going to put this aside and do that first. If I still got enough fabric, that is. Because that's also a thing. I might be out of muslin. This is, as you can see, a very orderly process. There's something in here. What's in here? Some pen or something stuck in here. How did... There we go. Yeah. So let's see if I have enough muslin to do a test sleeve. Otherwise, maybe... Oh god. That was just a couple of spools of overlock thread. Everything's fine. Everyone's alive. I don't think this is going to cut it. I might take one of the original sleeves out and reuse that fabric. And it'll just become... I can't fully reuse it because obviously the new sleeve is bigger and has a different dart. But I can sort of shift the whole thing down and make a shorter sleeve that at least has the correct shoulder. I guess that's what it's going to have to be. Let me double check my muslin stash. No, it's gone. Alright. I was going to take out one of these then. I'll take out the one that I didn't doodle on. Hey Kiki! You have cosplay plans? Ooh. What are you... I mean, supposedly... When you say cosplay plans... sorry, you said cosplay like you wouldn't believe that. To me, suggests that you have multiple characters in mind. What's the plan? I'm just gonna unpick this old sleeve from the mock-up and try to reuse the fabric for a new one. Because I do need to test my weird pin tuck plan. And these sleeves are big, so it's not like... I might have enough fabric to cut another pair if it doesn't work, but that's pushing it for how much fabric I have. Frozen Maiden? I'm not huge into anime, so I don't know all the things about Frozen Maiden, but I've seen like screenshots and things of it, and that is pretty cool. So I'm just curious with the whole cosplay thing. Like, similar to people doing historical costuming, it's very, like, event-centered, where you go to some Comic-Con or whatever convention it is with your costume. Do you have any events in mind to wear it to? Or is it like just want to make it, and by the time it's finished, maybe there will be events again? Because with the whole Corona thing, there's not a lot of places to show off fancy outfits, unfortunately. Except Instagram. Which, to be fair, not bad. Just posting a bunch of pictures of a costume and being like, check out what I made. Though it's not quite the same as actually wearing it to a place where people can see it. For the love of sewing. That's also a very like legit and pure reason, and I appreciate that. Just for the heck of it. Though to be honest, like I don't start out making things thinking, oh, people are gonna love it when I show it off. I start out making things because I'm like, this would be awesome to have. This needs to exist in the world. But after I've put hours and hours into it and done my utmost to make it awesome, it does feel good to show it off, I'll be honest. Let's see if I have done enough to take this sleeve out. Oh, I also probably need to remember whether this was the left or the right sleeve, so I get the back and the front correct when I cut the new one. So this is this is the front, this is the back. I'm gonna mark that. Front side, back side. Now let's see if it'll come out. Whee! Ta-da! That was not so bad. Now I just need to open up this seam. I hope I can seam rip it, but I've been ripping the fabric a lot when I've been doing that. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea. Yeah, I'm just making holes in it now. Actually, that shouldn't matter too much because that'll just end up in the seam allowance of the second sleeve that I'm going to cut out of this piece of fabric. Right? Oh, actually, I could just cut it out. Jeez. I am so smart. Because the whole sleeve is going to be shifted down onto this piece of fabric, so the original stitch line means nothing. Let's just cut the whole thing out. There we go. I have a piece of fabric. And I have a sleeve pattern. And the front goes here and the back goes there. Yeah, that checks out. Just cut into it so it lies flat. Okay, so let's cut a slightly shorter trial sleeve out of this. So this would be considered the good side of the fabric, which is not ideal for making my markings on. So let's flip it over. I'll do it like that. I think that checks out. And then the rest further down doesn't matter that much anymore. As long as the start of the sleeve is okay. Let me get a... I guess I'll mark it with this. This is not going well. I use a pencil. As a reminder to myself, this is the front and this is the back. Oh, I've also got well, I'm not sure if I should say this. I'm planning a new YouTube video. Because that whole sort of shooting and editing business takes a long time. And it's way harder than streaming. So, you know, I've got a day job and everything. I have limited time to make videos. But, I'm planning something about identifying fiber contents in fabrics. Because I think it's a pretty useful thing. And you don't even need that much stuff to do it. You've got hands and eyes, you're halfway there, and then maybe a lighter, and maybe some water. Should be able to identify like most common things. But now by seeing this, now it's gotta happen. Like, if I just planned it and never did it, it would be fine. But now I've told you that I'm doing it, so now I kind of have to. But maybe that's also a productivity hack, you know? Telling people that you're gonna do something. I figured it might be useful to some people. I'm gonna go for, I guess, as much sleeve as I can, so I can get some idea of the drape of it. But I'll just need to remember that this doesn't need to match up at the bottom, because that's just wherever the fabric ends. Oh yeah, and then also let's mark the positions of the, I'm gonna make some holes in that. So I can mark the ends of the, whatchamacallit, the pin tucks. Oh no, those are my fabric shears. Don't do that. There we go. I need to tape this down better. I need some way to transfer the pin tuck lines onto the fabric. And I guess actually the answer is some tracing paper. Let me make sure I don't lose any of these pieces. And then I think I got some tracing paper somewhere. And that should allow me to mark the pin tucks in a way that I can also stitch them together. Or maybe I should actually mark the pin tucks on the front of the fabric, because that's how I'll be folding it. Yeah, because the wait. This is considered the good side of the fabric. For what I'm doing. Jeez. Wait, no, that's considered. The original sleeve had its front here and its back here, and I want to put it back in the same spot. This is the front, this is the back, so it's flipped. So this is now the wrong side of the fabric, and this is the right side of the fabric, and it needs to go on the bottom. Yes. Okay, gotcha. I'm gonna take some tracing paper and just plop it underneath. And then hopefully, if I trace it with something like a pencil, let's see if that works. And that does not seem to work. I'm gonna try with one of that wheel thingies. Yar. The pizza cutter things. Let's try that. I guess the appropriate name is a tracing wheel, but proper names for things is pussies. So okay, I'm gonna do all of them before lifting it up to see if it's actually working, because if it is, I need to keep it consistent. And if I lift it up, it might move. Oh wait, no, that doesn't matter, because the pattern is attached to the fabric, of course. This can shift all at once. I am an idiot. I can see a couple of blue dots, but it's not convincing in any way. How is this working so poorly? This worked fine when I did it before. I'm gonna try a different color. Maybe the blue is just not so clear. I'm gonna do red. Come on, don't let me down. Maybe I need to put something a bit softer underneath to make it, I don't know. I'll put a cutting mat underneath because I've got one. I might as well try. Oops. So where does this actually start and end? This ends here. This ends there. All right. Hey, 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 hey! That actually works. Can you? Yeah, there it is. A red line. Woohoo! Okay. Now let's do the rest. Ugh. I'm also going to make sure to mark the ends somehow, so I know where to stop. I am poking so many holes in the pattern though. This is not going to be good if I have to do this more than twice. Maybe it also works with pencil now that I've got a collar that works. But hey, this is pretty good. I like it. I'll also do the edges here. Because why not? Whee! Okay, I think now I can cut it out. Don't need any other markings, do I? Got those. Yep, we're good. Alright, let's quickly throw this together and see whether what I did with the sleeve actually works, or whether I need to make further alterations. So once again, this is the reverse of the fabric. So I need to do the dart like this. Oh, I just realized I hadn't actually checked whether the two sides of the dart are the same length. So that might be problem number one. Is that the dart doesn't add up at the this is the end of the pin tuck. That it doesn't match up at the neckline. That might be a thing that happened, because I didn't check. So let's see how I did. Might have been easier if I'd made a straight dart instead of this whole curvy thing. But I don't know. I think this will have a nicer result in the end. So let's see how screwed up my neckline is. Very screwed up. That's way off. Look at that. So I poked the last pin through where the end of the dart is on the back of the fabric, but on the front it's about this much out from the end. So yeah, I made a little mistakey there. That's whoops. Where? Yeah. Let's do some measuring and then do some fixing. Where's my floppy ruler? Where is it? Where did I put it when I cleaned up the table? Threw everything down somewhere. But I'll just use a... I don't know where I threw the floppy ruler, but I'll just use a tape measure. So, the problem being that this curve is not the same length as that curve, which now that I look at it is quite obvious because this is obviously way longer. Which might partially be a result of the fact that I moved the point slightly. Yeah. Alright, let's see. This is slightly bendy, so it'll kind of work. I can even just put it like this. down to here. Let's call that 18 centimeters. And over on the other side, that's that's only 16 and a half. So I can make this shorter by making it less curvy. And I can make this longer by making it more curvy, but I think that would result in a really unnatural kind of dart. So I think I might be in a slight amount of trouble here. Like, one way of making this less curvy is to put this bit back here that I cut off. Because I moved a little bit from here to there, I think. No! Wait, did I? Yeah, I cut a little bit off of here and I moved it there. But if I cut it back off here and move it back there, I don't think that solves any of my problems. So if we just put this together, because this definitely needs to go together. What kind of dart can I then get that goes roughly over there? I think I'm just going to use that sort of reverse logic, where I should have probably just drawn something that goes straight here. Something like that, and something like that. And then it would still probably not quite get there. I can't go back to the original dart and tape it shut and cut it open again, because the point has moved, so it's not the same dart anymore. But I think I might just have to lengthen and shorten a couple of pieces to get it to work. What if I just... If I make this an entirely straight line, it's still about 18, so the difference is not huge. And if I make this, I don't know, 18 is way up there. But I need to keep this to make a neckline. How do I fix this? Because this still needs to connect in a smooth kind of way to make part of the neck. Like that, you know. At the same time, I want to have a seam that runs approximately like that. So how do I do that? There has to be some logical pattern drafting way to do that. So the way this was created is that I took the two pieces from the shirt and like basically taped them to the top of the sleeve. Let's go back to the original and see what we can do with moving this dart, because I did some shenanigans there. So here we have the original sleeve, where you can see that I have so I've taken a piece from the front panel and from the back panel of the shirt and basically taped it to the top of the sleeve, and then did some things. And one of the things is that the original shoulder seam makes up the dart that you get. So if I were to try to move the dart more over there, how would I do that? I would move part from here to there and then doodle in the rest. And this piece of tape here represents where I've already made an alteration like that. Like, it was originally in the right spot, and then it spooked me because it wasn't in the middle of the sleeve. And then it turns out that that's actually correct. And now I'm not sure what to do with it. I'm going to see if I can peel these front and back pieces off and just compare them to the sleeve that I've currently got. And maybe work some magic. Or should I leave this as it is and trace a new one? Because I don't want to ruin this, because that did work. I know I moved a little bit from there to here, which I kind of want to move back. I'll just trace 2 of these and use that to go back to the other pattern. That's I think it's a good solution. I'm gonna copy these extra pieces and then hold that up to what I've currently got. And in doing that, I'm also going to revert to the original that I had instead of the one with the shoulder alteration. God, this is a nightmare. I thought I was just gonna do a quick alteration here and there. I am glad though that I didn't cut the dart out of the mock-up yet. I was just pinning it and I left the entire triangle in. Because I don't have the fabric to replace that right now. So, ruler. I should probably shop for some more muslin, because that stuff is important. Does that match up? Yes. God, what am I doing? Clearly, I don't have the pattern drafting know-how to do any of this. But that's how you learn, right? Though, honestly, I should have seen that coming with the dart. That was very wishful thinking. Alright, that's a replica front piece. Let's see if we can make a replica back piece out of this, maybe. And there I'm going to be adding on that little bit extra, so I need to make sure I have enough paper for that. There. Is that the actual edge? There's so many lines underneath here, I have no clue anymore. Don't move, don't move. Wait, I have actual weights. I'm such a genius. And that is supposed to be a straight line. So that's the piece I've got. Oh, thanks. Well, you say Depeche Mode shirt. What is it? That's, So the game is, it says, I mean, I guess people will get this. So yeah, and you know, the famous Depeche Mode album "Boys Don't Cry" is what that is. Like I love this shirt. It's such a nice niche joke, and I don't know. Why is this not exactly the same length? It's a bit dubious, but. Alright. And that's the part that I cut off earlier that I now am wanting to put back. So let's go for that. So now that I have these replica pieces, I'm going to hold them up to the sleeve I've currently got to see whether I can move the dart in a more natural way. Because I know now that these two pieces that I've got actually fit together perfectly, like they are the same length. So theoretically, if they form a dart, it should fit. And then from there, I can extend the dart in a symmetrical way so that it will keep fitting. I think that's how that's supposed to work. So let's test this theory. Get rid of the jellyfish and go back to this bit. So at one point in its life, this went here and this went there. And would have formed a dart about I'm going to tape this down carefully, maybe a little bit, to have it in its original position. But I'm noticing now that of course, the symmetry of the dart depends on how high or low you place these pieces on the original sleeve curve. So maybe that is one of the things that went wrong. That would make some amount of sense, I think. This then would have gone here. I like that these pieces do still match up with the armhole markings that I've got. That's promising. So if I put them in the same place where they originally were, we get a dart like this, where you can see this point. I'm not sure you can see that. Hold on. Oh god, I taped it to the table. Okay. So, no, that's not gonna work. Let's put this cutting mat underneath so it'll lie flat. So what you see here is that this point is way higher than that one. And this dart was never gonna dart its dart anyway. So if this is to work, one of the two needs to move either up or down. So since I'm a bit concerned about having enough space in the sleeve head, does that mean I should move it? If I move it down, it gets... Wait, this needs to still fit to the original body as well. So, oh, I should be tilting it until the points meet. That's the thing. Because you do need to preserve the length of this side because that needs to fit to the front and the back body pieces. So I'm gonna tilt this one down slightly. That's it. That's how this is gonna add up. And I'm gonna tilt this one up slightly until it meets in the middle. Aha! I think that is the smart thing that I was missing. Because now we've got the exact same length on the pieces where it connects to the body. Here we now have a symmetrical dart. And I can now also just extend this downwards if I want to. Now I just need to add the extra centimeter back in for the pin tucks that I did earlier. I might as well just trace it and do an entirely new sleeve because this is becoming a tape and scraps monster at this point. So I'm going to grab a bit of extra paper and try to accurately get rid of the parts I don't need and keep the parts that I do need and make something of it. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Sleeve iteration number 3. There we are. It should be enough paper. Okay, so now, what parts do I want and what parts do I not want? Let's try to make this the last piece that I have to draft. And make a list of the stuff I need to not forget. So I need to extend the dart. I need to walk the edges to compare them to the rest of the pattern pieces to double check that it still fits, because probably some inaccuracy happened here. And transfer the pin tucks, like the lines that I drew basically. Oh, actually I did something wrong there as well. I just drew them where I wanted them to go, but I didn't take into account that it would eat up some of the fabric, so the spacing needs to be different. Is that a thing? Oh no, because I evenly spaced them with the fabric that I have, which already has the extra in. No, that's fine. Transfer the lines and add the extra centimeter for the pin tucks. And then we should be good. So I'm not going to cut off everything that shouldn't be there. Or at least everything that's not relevant to the lines that we're drawing now. Where's my tape now? Jeez. Why is this so hard? There we go. Make sure that these pieces are taped down in a way where I'm not going to cut pieces off that are going to cut them loose. I need these to stay in place. I might have to reposition the pin tuck lines actually, because I'm moving some stuff around here as well. But this no longer matters, but oh wait, jeez, I deliberately taped it down and now I'm peeling it off again. I'm a genius. Good. The bit I don't need is everything that isn't 1 centimeter from there. So this needs to be extended a little bit for the pin tucks, but everything outside of that I don't need. Sure, something like that. I'm just gonna cut that off. Oh yeah, I also need to just trace and cut this exactly. Because I need this corner. This is my sleeve. So now I've got one of the edges where we definitely know where it ends here. Definitely know where it ends here. But this can still extend or be shortened any amount, which I'm going to determine after I hold it up to the back piece of the pattern, which is located... Oh yeah, it's already pinned to a piece of fabric. Wow. Yeah, good times. Let's unpin this and compare. This just goes to show how far ahead of myself I got. So these things need to add up together. According to this, should match up over there. And then this is way, this one is shorter. So I need to extend this upwards a little bit. Say I go like this, which is also a smooth line, which I like. Smooth lines are usually good. Let's try it again. Oh, hey, welcome back, Yukimiko. I mean, I was gonna say you didn't miss much. You missed me floundering with the pattern, and now I'm trying to fix stuff that I screwed up. So, you didn't miss anything of much relevance. I drew a pretty random dart, and it didn't work because it was pretty random. So, Now let's also match up the neckline, because this needs to go here. Is that a smooth line? That is actually a fairly smooth line. I can deal with that. So I think that settles this part. And the dart starts here. Oh, it doesn't really want to lie flat particularly well. And then the dart goes here somewhere. And the center of it is currently located here. I'm just going to mark the current edges of the dart because I do want to extend it into the pattern a little bit more, but I need to establish like where the middle is and how I should extend it so that it's the same on both sides. Also, let's figure out this side of the sleeve, where I should also be adding an extra centimeter for my pin tucks. If I've got... Where did my... here. I don't know where that little seam gauge thingy went. I will just use the enormous ruler, because why not? Goes there. Goes there. And there. And then that needs to be a smooth line from here-ish somehow. I like the last fit. Oh yeah, I did like the last fit quite a bit, except that the seam on the shoulder was a bit too far towards the back. It's like I'm not sure if you remember, but last time I undid a shoulder seam correction in order to make the raglan sleeve make more sense to my brain, but actually that was like the correction was on point and I should not have removed it. So that's what I'm undoing right now. And then I tried to correct it by making up some randomly shaped dart over here that didn't actually, like, one half was bigger than the other and you couldn't stitch it together because I was an idiot. So that's what I've been up to. And what is the dokomi? What is that? I don't know what that is. So let's see if this actually matches up to the front panel that it's gonna have to be stitched to at some point. Actually, I'm gonna start from the bottom because it'll be easier to extend that way. That is where that should go. this should make a smooth collar shape. It goes that direction. Okay. So this has got to go a little bit like this. Okay, I think that sorts out the connections with the front and the back panel. Now let's, I think I'm going to peel this off now, because I think I've got all the lines I need. And, oh wait, no I don't, because I also need to have these pin tuck lines. Let's see if that makes it through the holes that I made earlier. Sorry. Oh, it's a convention? Oh, it's like a... Is it like an anime sort of expo, or is it Japan General? I'm sort of coloring through the holes I made earlier with the tracing wheel. And that should sort of transfer roughly where those should go. I'm not sure that's making it through. Let's use more tracing paper magic. Both actually, they also have Korean and English influences. Oh, that sounds cool. So, what did you buy? I hope that worked. It did! So let's peel this off. So the bad pattern can go now. I might use it to do the whole length and the rest of the sleeve, but for the sleeve hat I think I'm good. I've marked the start and the end of the dart. And so that way I can draw a symmetrical line through the middle. You know, if I just connect the start and the end point and say that they are 8 centimeters apart, and put a mark halfway down the middle, and then draw that straight through the end of the dart and continue it onto the rest of the shirt. And then I can just freely go from anywhere on that line to the corners and be sure that I have a dart that will actually stitch. That works. I'm gonna make them a little bit curved because I think it would be nicer. But I'm gonna make them curved the same way on each side, because that way I don't screw it up. So let's, jeez, I got too much stuff. What's underneath here? My seam ripper. Okay. So I'm just gonna take the French curve and, I don't know, find a nice spot on it. and then flip it over in the exact same spot and do the same curve on the other side. And that should make a symmetrical dirt that does actually match up. There we go. That's good. Now I need to draw in the rest of the pin tuck curves. Why does this one look so far away from the edge? You don't have enough typing space for it? Cooking stuff, wooden spoons. Oh, bento boxes are really, really cute. Sweets, wigs, stationery. Wow. That sounds like a big haul that you got. So I'm just gonna evenly space them and screw whatever I did here. Bye! So this is about 6-ish centimeters. So let's put something. If I divide it into 3, which is 2 each, so you end up here and there. And let's just draw some smooth lines. Actually, let's draw some straight lines. Because I think pin tucks are way easier to stitch if they're straight lines. And it should just hang off the shoulder and screw everything I came up with before. Da 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 da. I think maybe the curvy stuff I doodled on the mock-up was also a bad idea. Who knows? Let's divide this in 2. This is only 4 centimeters. Divided by 3 is, well, 3/4. 4/3 is 1.3-ish. About there, and about there. Wait. I'm measuring the wrong bit. Haha! So smart. No, it's more like 4.5, which conveniently is 1.5 when you divide it by 3. Doop, doop, doop. I still don't really trust the placement of these, but I guess it'll have to show in the mock-up. Let's do that. Yeah, I think that's it for the head of the sleeve. Now I'm just gonna quickly trace the rest of it, like the whole bottom that nothing has changed about. And make sure which of these markings is the correct one, because that's going to trip me up. And the bottom ones are the correct ones. Okay. Gotcha. You have a hole in your savings? Yeah! Oh! Iron Brew! Wow. That's a while since I've had that. I mean, honestly, I knew that there was a lot of hype around Iron Brew, and I was a little bit disappointed at how generic soda it tastes in real life. But I love sort of the cult status that it has, especially from what I understand. a year or so, or maybe it's probably, I don't know, time passes quickly. 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, the recipe changed to have less sugar in it, and everyone's like, no, you want the sugar. And now there's supposedly some sort of a black market in original recipe iron brew for the people who cannot do without the sugar, which I find hilarious. This is not the same. Let's flip that over. Wait, what? What am I doing? I should probably just line up the dart again, because it was the original orientation that I put this in. Like that. This does not check out. Why is it different now? I didn't do anything. I just... No, it's definitely different. What? What did I do the first time around? Wow. I might just align this one because it's already been cut. So that one needs to stay the same. Tape that down. Hold it flat. Make some markings. Also tape it there, I guess. But yeah, when you love something and you're able to splurge on it, that's just, it's good. Okay, now let's figure out what the hell I've done here. Where's my giant ruler? Or anything. Anything with centimeters on it. That is still correct. That's a bit much, actually. Yeah. I think this is not entire. Maybe it was not lying perfectly flat the first time I traced it. I don't know. I can't make these things match up anymore. Gee. This is frustrating. I'm gonna just do this side again, because why not? If I'm gonna do it right, I'm gonna do it right. So this line should fade into that line. I'm gonna erase the stuff I don't need and then double check it again. If I can find my eraser. I guess I can't. Can I find my front panel? Yes. Beep, 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 beep. So this is my back panel. First write 5 years ago. So Scotland in a can. Oh yeah, the Scottish are very fanatic about their iron brew. It's, I will be honest and say that I don't fully understand the hype, but I'm happy for them. so actually, this is where that line should be, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. That's nice to know. Oh, why does this... No! It also moves the top of the dart now that I've taped it down differently. Only a little bit, though. It's probably small enough that it doesn't matter. Wishful thinking? I will YOLO this part. We all know how that went last time, but I'm still coming back for more. Haha! So that's... Oh, yeah, and I was going to trace the rest of the sleeve. That's why we're here. Where's my pencil? So the center of the sleeve is staying in the same spot. So this should still, I think, be the straight grain, even though the dart is not on it anymore. Okay, I think that should be the whole thing traced. Let's see if I'm correct. I might peel this off. I just need to fill in the sides of the sleeves, which I just made some markings for, and I'm going to use a ruler, because tracing straight lines is just annoying. Okay, I think that should be my sleeve. I'm gonna cut it out while I still know what all the lines mean, because I did do some changes upon changes that are perhaps kind of dubious. Like, I won't remember tomorrow what I did. I think I'm already cutting the wrong line, aren't I? Yeah, I am. That was not the curved line for the dart. That was the straight line for the dart, and I didn't want that one. Now I do need my tape. What have I done? I'm just gonna peel some tape from this thing, because I don't need that anymore. That's what the world has gotten to. I'm now peeling tape off of another pattern piece because I cannot be bothered to find my roll of tape. This is what you have made me do, shirt. Wow, I'm being garbage at cutting. Oh yeah, the ruler is a force to be reckoned with. It does have a nice weapony shape to it as well. Like, it definitely feels like some kind of orc battle axe sort of deal. I think you could whack someone in the head pretty well with it. It's too bad it's made out of acrylic. Like, I already like stepped on it and cracked it. I taped it back together and it's still mostly attached, but I did crack it here. So maybe not the best weapon from a materials kind of perspective. I was so close. I was gonna just stitch together an extra mock-up of the sleeve and then it was gonna be done. And now I'm back here doing this. Ugh. Let's get back to the piece of fabric that I was going to make the sleeve out of and see if I can fit this onto it. Because here we go with sleeve attempt number 3. Though, maybe... oh, crap. Now, of course, because I've marked the previous sleeve onto it, it's going to be hell to tell which is which. Why did I do this? Wait, let's also mark this is the back sleeve, this is the front sleeve, and that should go like so to match what I've already got. I'll have to mark this with some sort of colored something so I don't mess up. It does fit though, even though it's shaped slightly differently. I'll just put some, I got some pink chalk things that can go in my chalk pencil. That should distinguish it enough from the other stuff. Or I've also just got a blue regular chalk pencil. I don't like these because they go dull so quickly. I do have, let's do this. These are pink fillings for the chalk thing. Take out the white one. I see that I've already done this once and put the white one in here as well. It's gonna get all mixed up, but whatever. And then hopefully I will remember to look only at the pink chalk lines. There we go. Okay, here we go, here we go. Make it all nice and flat, make it not be messed up. And I guess I'm also going to have to mark the pin tucks with a different color. Which is sad, because I found out that the blue paper doesn't work, but the red paper does. And I have a couple more colors, but I hope they all work. a nice bright pink. That's very clear. I like that. So I guess we might end this video, or this stream, in about the same spot I was in last week, with a finished mock-up, well, a sort of finished mock-up, and plans for next time. If you have ideas, by the way, for other craft stuff that you'd like me to stream, I mentioned earlier that I was considering screen printing and paper making, but they both have long wait times that make them not all that suitable for streaming. We've got ideas of crafts that I should definitely try, and that would make a good sort of 3-hour project, or 6 hours, or whatever. I am open to suggestions. Thinking maybe some cross-stitch pixel art or something like that, but I don't have any use for such a thing. There's already a bunch of people doing that, so I don't know. So yeah, let me know in the chat if you have some crafts that I definitely should try sometime on the stream, that hopefully don't take too much dedicated equipment. Alright, let's see what other tracing colors we've got that might work. Here's a very ugly green that might do the trick. White, that is probably not going to cut it. Does that do anything? It does! Excellent. Don't underestimate these cross-stitching. Maybe we can make some paper from our cotton scraps. Ah! Paper make... I was considering making paper with scrap paper, but making paper with scrap cotton is also a possibility. I never considered that. So that would just involve, what, blenderizing a bunch of the cotton? Alright, let's see. Oh! Haha! Okay. Of course, I tried doing these while the paper was not underneath. Wow. Okay, let's try that again. Like, you should see the floor right now. It's just scraps of paper and more paper and fabric and all the crap that like fell by the wayside during this whole process. So, soaking them in vinegar for a while seems like a fun project. I'm just not entirely convinced that, like, I should probably soak them before the stream then, because otherwise you're just watching vinegar soak. So I'd have to do that up front. But then the actual sieving of it, I guess I could do on a stream. Figure out if I can... I'll do some Googling. See what I can make of it. Okay. So I think this is finally ready to get stitched together. The part where I pinned together this dart was the part where it went wrong the first time. So let's start there and see whether we have improved our chances. I'm just going to line up the corners of it first and then see if I can pinch it together where it should meet. I think that checks out. Okay, good. See, the dart should end right there. This is a bit weird. Okay, let's get the sewing machine out and do this. Fabric origami? Oh, that sounds cool, actually. I did some origami when I was little with, like, paper. With fabric origami, like, do you actually stitch it together so it stays together, or do you just heavily starch it, or how does it stay folded if you do fabric origami? Alright, that's the dart, and then I should flip that over. Maybe I should iron it before trying to make it into a pin tuck, or maybe I should just, like, I don't know, smush it a little bit into the shape that I want it. I'll just pin it flat, screw this. I should iron it, but I don't feel like it. So I'll just pinch it and try to make it okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna stitch the, like, basically, here's the inside of the dart. I folded it out to the outside, and now I'm gonna pin tuck it. If I haven't pulled the thread out of the needle, which I have. Oh, come on. There we are. I'm going to try to stick to the same line on the sewing machine that I was using last time to at least get a consistent size on the pin tucks. So basically I'm, like, on the part where the dart is, it's equivalent to top stitching it, except in a weird way that you would never normally do on a dart. Very drapey fabric would you have to stitch. Already stiff fabrics would be fine with heavy starching. Oh! Starching is not something I'd considered, but yeah, that would work. I'll do some Googling and see whether I can make something of it. So now I'm just going to cut away the excess fabric on the dart, and then I'm going to make the pin tucks on the other, like the other 4 pin tucks, basically. I think I'm just going to freehand like I did last time. Just sort of fold it, stick it underneath there, and hope for the best. Came out fairly consistent last time, so I'm willing to do that. I'm getting some knots here where it started stitching. These knots that aren't supposed to be there. And they're there because I've been too lazy to keep my thumb on the threads that are hanging out of the machine when I start stitching. And I know I should, but I never do. Meh. Fine. I'll do it because it matters here. Alright, 2 more to go, and then we can put it into the shirt. And see whether all the effort that I put into it today actually did anything. That would be fun. I have not tried weaving. Well, I tried weaving for about 20 minutes when I was a kid, and I found it very tedious. Is there a way of spinning without having one of those spinning wheel thingies? Is there some like DIY method? Because I'm not sure I want to put a huge chunk of wood into my house for something I'm not sure I will like. Okay, I think I screwed up a bit on the consistency of the width of that pin tuck, but it will have to do. Okay, I'm also gonna cut out the neckline because that needs to not have any seam allowance on it. That does mean that I cut off some of the finish on the... I'll stitch across it so it doesn't start opening up the pin tucks. There. Okay, now I just need to do the side seams and then I can set it into the shirt. For spinning, I need a stick and a hook and an old CD. Huh. I think I got that. And some loose wool, supposedly, or something you can spin. Okay, I think that's good enough for the sleeve. Okay, now just let's pin it into the rest of the shirt. And hot glue. Oh, I've got hot glue, that's not a problem. Oh, I could also do like fun hot glue things. I think people make like masks and stuff, like those, you know, the sort of filigree masks you can do with, you need some black hot glue, I guess, which I don't have right now, but I could have by next week, probably. Where is the rest of the monstrosity? Here we are. Why did this also open up? That's not supposed to be open. Let's quickly stitch that shut. Somehow the side seam that I'm supposed to attach a sleeve to is not fully stitched, which is bad. Bad sleeve. Bad side seam. There we go. Okay, this is the outside of the garment. This is the outside of the sleeve. Sleeve needs to go like this. Garment needs to go right sides together. So I'm going to turn the sleeve outside out and fold the rest around it. And do it like this. Double check that. This is the front of the sleeve. This is the back. No way. Did I do it wrong? Wait. Ah, yeah! I did the side seam. No, wait, what? No, this is the outside. What? How did I screw it up this time? Like, really? I thought I thought this out before I cut it. What? So, one more time. The back side of the sleeve is this one. The back side of the shirt is that one. If they need to go right sides together, basically, yeah, it cannot attach like that. That's incorrect. How did I screw that up? Did I? Gah. I'm just gonna attach this inside out, and it will be like the pin tucks will be on the wrong side, but I can see roughly where they are because there are seams there on the inside, and at least it'll show me the fit as well. In today's episode of continually screwing shit up, this, wait, yeah, it should go like that. I should pin it like that. That check out? Yes, that checks out. That goes there. Wow. I am on a roll today. I thought I checked like twice whether I was doing this right, but oh God. I'm gonna just try to trace through it or something. I need the pink line on the other side. Like, how did I mess this up? How? All right, here we go. That should finally then do it. So one more time, this is the back. It goes to the back of the shirt. I didn't... Ah, no. It's... I think I did the whole backward, forward, inside, outside logic before you even got here, so I don't think it's you. I think it's me. I didn't expect this stream to be more tedious than the previous one, but I guess it can be. I think I might want to do this the other way around, where I'm not wrapping this around the sleeve, but I'm wrapping the sleeve around it. Something like this. Might make more sense. Also for stitching, maybe I should also pin it the other way around. Ow! Jeez. Let's also match up the seams, so at least I've got those correct. The green maybe actually works a bit too well, because there's smudges like all over the place. Now we just need to match up this. There's a bit of getting a concave curve to fit a convex curve kind of shenanigans, but I think it's doable. I've done worse. Just once again started pinning from the wrong side, and now I'm stabbing my thumb every time I try to put a pin in. Hooray. Come on, fit nicely. You can do it. You are a good piece of fabric, and I love you. Okay, that's one side. Now let's get the other one done. And then we go stitchy stitchy, and then if I didn't screw it up too bad, I can try it on. And then we will see whether the new sleeve is any better than the old one. And it's not even... Wait, it's 6:43. It's already been almost 4 hours instead of the 3 that I was planning. Time sure flies when you're frustrated. That's why I'm so hungry. It was only 4:30 like 5 minutes ago, right? Well, now I have to finish this. We need to finish the tail of the sleeve. This seems to not fit so well. I'll just stretch it a little bit and I'll double check that again and walk it. This is the front. Yeah. Seems to me that the front panel is a little bit larger here than the sleeve panel, but maybe that's just from all the wiggling it around so much. Okay, stitchy stitchy, here we go. Give this some extra room. And this time I'm also going to try not to catch anything from underneath in the seam line like I did last time. And this will just be right in one go. Fingers crossed. Going around the bend, not exactly at full speed, which is the correct speed. Still doing okay, I think. Still going strong. All right, so I'm not gonna say anything until I turn this right side out. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. It is a sleeve, and it is attached approximately correctly. I mean, it's inside out, but we knew that because I screwed up when I cut it. But I'm gonna just trim down the seam allowance on that dart a little bit more so I can sort of see where the seam is sitting. And then I'm gonna try it on. Let's do this. Oh yeah, the whole back is open because I tried to put it on the mannequin, that's true. about trying it on. I'm gonna quickly stitch the back up because I can't actually wear it this way. Like, the mannequin is not as squishy as I am, so I had to open up the back to put it on there. But that does hamper my ability to wear it a little bit. So hold on just a moment, please. Stick a handful of pins in there and stitch it back together. So close. So close. All right. Alright, final attempt at putting it on. So this is still without the waist alteration that would make it easier for me to get into. As you can see, it's needed. Okie dokie. So on this side, the original sleeve looks fine. On this side, the new sleeve actually also pretty much looks fine. I'm gonna have to have a critical look at it. I feel that there's a bit of pulling here. Like, you can see a line appearing there, which is not appearing on the original sleeve. See that? There's a line here that is not here. So that indicates that I need a little bit more fabric over there. Usually. So maybe add a little bit more to that arm side where I already added a bit, but maybe not enough. It's very slight though. What about the back? Actually, the original sleeve is doing the same, but in the back, where the new sleeve is not. I feel the new sleeve is better when it comes to the back. Yeah. Now, what do I think about the placement of the tucks? I think it looks pretty decent. I should probably highlight them a bit because it's really hard to see in the camera. Do I have a Sharpie or something? Some markers, maybe? Hello, markers. So this is pretty hard to do while wearing it, apparently. Okay, never mind this. That's pretty awful. But, meh. I'm gonna have another critical look at this in the mirror, where it's a bit easier to see than in the camera. But overall, it's not bad. I think that's what I said last time. But now I actually have the pin tucks in there, so it's a bit more important whether it's good or not. And oh yeah, this is what I meant with the bust dart being a bit too high. As you can see, the apex is about like that high. So that should come down a little bit. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm also dropping these pin tucks by a little bit because they're also sort of going up into the boob, which is not intentional. So, but other than that, yeah, I think I can deal with this sleeve at least. Good. Well, in that case, I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to have some food. Thank you all very much for tuning in and chatting with me while I was working on this, and during my continuous mistakes, from which I have learned a lot, and maybe you've learned some stuff as well, or at least found it mildly entertaining. So next week I'll be back with something that I don't know yet. Maybe it'll be the paper or the fabric origami, or maybe it'll just be actually making this thing. Because theoretically it shouldn't take that long. And maybe doing that polo thing, once I figured it out, will be mildly educational. So I'll upload I'll schedule the stream sometime Saturday, probably next week, and then you'll see what it's going to be. And then hopefully you'll be there next week as well. So have a good evening or afternoon, whatever it is in your time zone. And I'll see you later.